Share the screen.
And one last dad joke they want to.
They're always under the surface.
They come out at the right time.
How do you know?
Are standing at the,
How do you know when a dad joke is a dad joke? How do you know when a joke is a dad joke?
When the subsequent groan.
Yeah.
When it becomes apparent.
Oh,
that's good,
she
actually.
did it.
Yeah.
That was a good one.
That's true. Yeah, yeah. That's adult humor, Dad. That's not funny at all. I'm like, okay.
I was gonna say when somebody got some labor into it.
Oh.
That's a mom joke.
Yeah.
It came out.
Yeah.
See, that's where the dad joke thing. I'm like,
When
but why
somebody
is it
else
a
puts
dad
some
joke?
labor
Why
into
can't
it.
it be a mom joke?
Parent joke. Yeah.
Mom's joke tend to be a little bit better.
They
A
do.
little more edited.
More PG.
All right. Check it out.
Are we in?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, let's start this meeting off. Thank you for joining us. I think we know who's online, Patrick.
No, for the most part.
Jamie.
Jack, you'll be here shortly. Let's start with public comments. It's 7:04. Public comment may include suggestions and objective criticism of operations or programs, but the board will not hear complaints concerning individual personnel. The board will hear complaints, but will not engage in discourse with the public in this meeting. If you would like to share a public comment at one of our meetings, please join us in person at the school library or email your request to office@muddycreekcharterschool.org by 12 p.m. the day before the meeting, so we can share the link to Google Meeting with you. Written comments may be emailed to board@muddycreekcharterschool.org and may be read into the record at the next board meeting. All right, are there any public comments? Okay, well, that was talking for no reason. All right, approval of minutes. Patrick, what are we looking at here?
We had minutes. They got sent out.
This is April.
That's April 10th minutes.
What time? Oh, there's a lot of water in the bush there. Anybody? We have a chance to read them?
I did get to read them really quickly, so I moved to say yes.
I shall second. I shall second to say yes.
Oh.
5. Jamie, are you a?
Yep, I'm a 5 and I did read them.
Okay.
Can I ask a quick question about minutes versus transcription? Yeah. Do we ever that's later. Okay, never mind.
It's the same question, I think. Yeah.
No.
Okay.
My turn.
Executive update. Take it away, Sarah.
Awesome. We'll start with our metrics, our dashboard. I got one exciting number here, 17,457 is our current
That's really impressive.
total. And wait till you see next month, because plant sales not even in there, and we got some
Nice.
donations. So hint, we broke 20,000. So that will be next month's celebration. This month I'm still excited. I think we were hoping to get $15,000 as we got last year, grand total. And so we've been working hard.
It really
The
is
PTO
impressive.
and
We've
everybody
never
else.
had that.
We
kind of
started
money.
with 0 for the first 13 of the 15 years of the school here. So the trend's
Yeah.
really good. Yeah.
Jogathon's going to be before next month. Jogathon and plant sale are going to be on next month's report.
Yep. And last year, Jogathon took in $6,000.
Wow.
6,000. I was just looking it up. So if we get even close to that, I will be doing a little happy dance at the next all school meeting. Break dancing probably.
We have that in writing in the minute. So watch
Break
out.
dancing promised.
No, that's in the transcript. That's
One of the students has been teaching me how to do the worm. That could be hilarious. So yeah, everything else is pretty straightforward. We have a little jostle in think in enrollment, some kids have been going on long-term vacation, some are back, some are, we don't really have any new kids, but we've had some absences and some returns, so all still in the same zone of 109, 110.
Does long-term vacation, I mean, they still count as enrolled, right? Unless,
No, so if they are not
Yes.
actively here for 10 straight days, then they're automatically dropped. And in the case of a lot of our families, I think we actually have a lot of families who do this sort of thing where they go for a week, 2 weeks, 3 weeks,
yeah,
a couple of months,
Mm.
and then come back. And so what they, some of them utilize like school systems were in their destination, wherever that is, or they'll do like an online school. So they technically have to enroll in those, so we can't double dip those funds. But
is that,
as soon as they get back, we get them.
is that standard? Like, because I would assume like you send them their assignments, they go ahead and do their work from wherever they're at, and then
That's hell on any teacher.
It is the
It's
other.
bad enough when it's just for a day or two, if
Mhm.
they're gone for a week or two. 99% of them never touch it. You've spent 3 hours getting all of this ready. It just isn't, but it is a law that you drop them after 10 days unless they have medical.
Medical.
And so that's the most you would have to provide, but it just isn't something that works well.
The other thing, and I don't claim to be an expert on this, but I did learn a little bit during our charter contract renewal, was if the student has to be located in Oregon, if we wanted to do any kind of online learning, like provide that. And there's a complexity between like providing online school and providing like a hybrid. And we're not licensed to do either one, so.
Oh.
That's where my research stopped.
Just a clarifying question. So when you say they're dropped, they're disenrolled or they're,
They become inactive, that's the status that they're in. And per the policies, that could put them at risk of not having a place
Okay.
when they return. But the families that have contacted us ahead of time and requested that dispensation, it's up to the executive director's discretion to re-enroll.
got it.
And we have space, and the kids that are going, it's a joy to have them back and have their experiences and share that with their classmates. So
Right.
I've not turned anybody away
No.
for enriching their little youths.
maybe something new.
Can I ask on that last one?
Yeah.
Literacy, is this new numbers or this is same number?
Same.
Okay.
Next month though, I'll have the new ones. And I should have all the metrics for like year-end evaluation for me too. I think we're gonna wrap all the testing up by the end of this month. So as long as I can get it like organized, we should have all the numbers by next month. I'm not looking forward to next month's meeting because it is the day before the last day of school, and so I don't know what kind of mood everybody's gonna be in. I'm gonna be exhausted, but
Do you want to move it?
no, it'll be fine. I think
She doesn't want to come back.
just
next
warning,
week.
Ah.
just warning.
Or just like a Tuesday, you want it a Tuesday instead of a Thursday or something?
Oh,
Yeah.
it's gonna be equally painful, but thank you. We'll
We'll
get it.
bring Jackie
Get her
over
done.
quick.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Jackie's in charge that way. Yeah, so then last month we started looking at adjusting the budget for ELG and enrollment increases. I don't have much of an update there except that by April 30th, I was required to like log into the ODE dashboard and say specifically what are you going to use all the money for. At that time, the dollar figure was like $64,000 and not $129,000. But nor was it the $59,000 I thought it was going to be. It's like this weird random in between number. And the final numbers aren't expected until beginning of June. So we'll whip those back out. And
So even though
Rehash.
there's no final number, you have to say how you're gonna spend the
yeah,
money.
I did a great job of it. I was
I'm
just
sure you
so adding things in that spreadsheet until they made $64,000.
We're gonna teach him to read.
Ding.
You should have made it add up to 100.
129, right? I was told.
I mean, if we're going there, let's just
Maybe
go.
that would have turned on some
Remember
light
when
bulbs
you
up there.
said,
We need to make our own, just take that up to 250.
oh my gosh, right, choose your own. But, yeah, we'll look at that again when we get there. The MOUs were sent out and we have all but one back because we're still working on the schedule for library, and that'll matter because I have to fill in like what hours, and so we're working on that as a team and then send it out, but everybody's being communicated with and every other MOU is back.
That's very impressive.
Spring conferences we had, they went really well. The kids are so great when they do their like self-led. You guys love that, didn't you? It was so nice when they do that. And we had our spring showcase. Saw a lot of you there. It was fun, very boisterous. I also love that we turned it into like a showcase of arts, not just a music-a-thon, but we're thinking about for next year uncoupling it because of how stressful it was for Karen. She's thinking about rolling it into conferences instead. So it's still like a walkthrough and a showcase of the art, but maybe on a different day. Plant sale was great. I think I added everything up this morning, and so far it's $3,003.
Wow.
We had to lay out a little bit more than we did last year because the price of the pots went up. And as you can see from when we walked past our surplus, we overbought a little bit. So I expect all of you to take at least a couple pots home, please. They're more likely to stay alive in your backyards than on my front porch. So
I gotta say shout out to Naya for bringing all of the cactus too. Thank you, your family,
You brought a lot of
definitely.
cactus joy. Yep.
Like
you
multiple
should see them.
shifts,
Yeah.
And they were
multiple shifts.
fighting over the cactus.
Samuel dropped it and it fell out of the pot and he got real sad. We're hoping it lives.
Oh, it'll be
little
fine.
cactus
They're
are very
hardy.
forgiving.
That's 10 years in New Mexico with us. That's why we love the cactuses. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, if we could do more cacti and succulents
Right?
next year,
You have to water them either.
they will
Right.
walk off easily.
That was the sneaker. We did not expect that.
I'll report back.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Remember, it was so funny
Two
because
thumbs up.
she told the staff, "Oh, I'm dropping off the kids, and I'm gonna go back and I'm gonna bring in some cactus." And then everyone was just waiting for her to come back. You were there. Everyone was just waiting. Like, when is she gonna get back? And then she came back again with more cactus. And so,
Nice.
yeah, I don't know. That was crazy, but great.
Good job, Naya.
Yeah.
Do we know what our output was? So you said income was 3,000.
1,400 and something. It was 950 last year. And last year we had more classrooms planting more plants. So when we figured out that there weren't as many classrooms planting plants, we ordered a little bit more from Peoria.
Mhm.
It kind of snuck up on us. Once we got back from spring break, we were like, "Oh God, we have forgotten to do something important." So that was the decision.
1,600-ish.
Yeah, reasonable. And what I loved about it, and you'll love about it, is that it was not just like the adults doing the thing. It was a very kid-based activity.
Yeah.
And between like choosing the color stories that we used in the baskets to, some of them did do some planting in their classrooms, but then having the kids out at recess and taking those little plants and making their planters and having them sell it. But that was a really like Muddy Creek moment. And I just do it every year if it even only made $500.
There she is.
Welcome.
You missed the thermometer, Jackie. Look at this.
Love the thermometer. Very nice.
And then last month we started a bunch of planning. This month we're doing a lot of the things. So we did do the plant sale. The Educator Appreciation Week was this week, culminating in the big car wash and massage-a-thon tomorrow. Thank you, Jessica. And for all of the rest of you who are showing up and washing cars,
I
official
tried.
stink
What
eye.
time are you
You can send a
starting?
delegate. Just saying, you too.
My dad might.
I think we've got 3 or 4 PTO members who are coming. Buckets and suds. And anytime. It's just like whenever people show up to do it. Egg drop day happening next Friday. And if any parents are listening, this is a reminder that the egg drop design and build is happening at home. The kids will show up with their project. And if you don't know what the specifics of your project are, reach out to your teacher because they totally do. And they're going to be sending home a little flyer, I think, early in the week, just a reminder, or maybe on Dojo to remind everybody. Every grade level is a little different, so check into it.
Who drops them?
Well, last year it was Ms. Hine because she's fearless, and Kalesh.
Yeah.
They both went on the scissor lift and did that, and because the rest of us were like, no way. We did get a harness this year, so that's something.
Oh.
Classy. Jogathon coming up too. Those packets are going home next week. And Ginger's got all kinds of cool prizes and fun times and lots of music and enthusiasm. Outdoor school is coming up too for fifth grade parents. They had their parent meeting last night.
Where are they going?
Oh, I think it's a combination. They're going to Silver Falls, but the Opal Creek is the name of the camp. And so their Opal Creek burned down years ago, and then so they kind of use that location, but it's this combo.
It's very cold.
Yeah, you went last year, didn't you?
I did. It's very cold.
Only one cabin has the electricity, I understand.
It's like open. I heard.
And Tom
It is
always
open.
claims it.
Oh,
It is
Sleeping quarters are open.
the sleeping quarters. You go in and it's bunk beds, and above the top bunks is
That's
no,
No mosquitoes.
not
Right.
net. Screen.
Chicken wire.
Screen. That's it. I was like the doors. Screen.
like a
It's
dorm, yeah.
about this tall, and yeah, the whole thing is just screened,
Wow.
and
Open
there's
ventilation.
no way to shut it. I had my rated to, I don't know, 20 degrees or 0 degrees sleeping bag, and I wore all my clothes and put my coat over my legs and feet.
Are you going?
I'm not going.
Oh. Did you get the invite?
Well, yeah,
I don't
that's
know.
just
I don't
where I
really
take
know
my
who's going.
tent.
I think Kale's going.
So
Oh, good.
if you guys go in future years,
A global woman took care of that for me.
They
You
tend
on
to
the top
need more moms than dads.
no,
so
the
that's
girls
usually true.
want the top.
I go to
bunk.
camp with him.
Kim and I had the bottom
every year
bunks.
since he was
Yeah.
2, so it's good for him to have his own thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, and you can't sleep with kids that are of a different gender than you are.
Yeah.
Different than the older things.
Do you know what the dates are on that? Only off
The
top of your head.
27th through the 30th, I think.
It was really fun though, and there's no bathing.
28th to 30th.
No
The
bathing.
bus ride back must have been great.
Yeah,
I
heard-
brought body wipes
Yeah.
for the girls.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
Well, that's why there's the open,
ventilation.
The cabins, when they close, they get so hot and stuffy. You want to open it anyway.
I don't think
Especially
it would
if
have been
girls
hot and
cabin.
stuff.
It was too early in the year.
Yeah,
It does get warm up in Silver Falls in the summer.
but it was really fun.
Good.
We had a great time. I
It's
highly recommend chaperoning.
adventurous and slightly trauma bonding from what I remember. Depends.
Yeah, I would say trauma
No?
bonding. No,
Okay, good.
no, I don't, and I don't think Kim would either. Yeah, we all had fun.
Good. Field trips are coming fast and furious. Everybody's getting them scheduled and trying to use that last couple weeks of school to have some extra fun. We have started scheduling interviews for new staff. As you know, Faye is leaving us this year, at the end of this year, and then we approved 2 halftime classroom IAs in our budget, right? So we're interviewing for those guys. And
And will they float?
potentially music as well.
Will they float?
I
Those aides?
Yes, I think the primary responsibilities are going to be to either reading groups and math groups, but they may be connected to a classroom. I think that's the hope, but depending on how many we can end up affording, we may need to share between.
And Faye's full time?
Have we hired this person yet or no?
We have interviewed and we have a very strong candidate. We have yet to, we've extended an offer, but we haven't yet extended an MOU because Tanya and Garth are behind. So that is the intention. So I haven't announced it yet.
Okay.
But yes,
Cool.
So you have picked one.
I picked one. We've picked one.
And music, you said?
Is that because it potentially or definitely?
Well, because of the other factors, like I haven't put it into the budget yet. But we're preparing for good news and hopefulness. And so I put it out there in the universe to see if there are any candidates. As you know, it's hard to
You
find.
listed it? Or
I've
you
listed
can't
it.
list it? Okay.
I have
yeah.
listed it.
I mean, that's
Oh,
We
I know
haven't
how
had a-
hard it is.
have not
It's
had a
like, you guys know
ton of-
anybody that knows how to
As-
teach music?
I mean, I did see unfortunately, there was somebody put a chart up on Reddit that every other school in Corvallis has dropped music teachers. So
That's what I
Well,
tried
they
to coincide
cut
it.
could be an email.
They've cut it to 75 minutes once a week.
Uh,
So they haven't killed
From
me.
what I
yet.
saw, there were some music teachers.
Some people have been combined.
They're
Yeah.
splitting. One teacher's going to 2 different schools.
Okay.
So if
Okay.
they each had one, that's where there'll be some cuts because one teacher
Yeah.
will go to 2
There-
schools.
From what I saw, Muddy Creek is the only school in CSD that is not losing any staff members. And most of them were talking about like losing music teacher, like at least one music teacher. So it was not a good chart except for us.
Well,
Where
There's
do
a
people
people,
number one.
CV
where do
student
folks
who
apply
wrote
for
a
that?
so we
scathing
have it
editorial
through
about the budget
Indeed and through
process.
ZipRecruiter.
Okay. Is there
But
anything
it's
on
also
the
on our
Muddy
website.
Creek website? Okay. I know someone who might be good actually.
Oh,
I'm not saying they're wrong. They're
So
probably
that's a-
right.
And it's a,
Another
good-
what is the,
yeah.
what are the hours like?
that part's flexible.
Okay.
So it's a total of, I think we said 11 hours a week.
Oh my God, you know.
Yeah, I know a really great guitar player, awesome guy, Nick Rivard. I might mention it to him. Yeah. You know him. Yeah.
Show him up.
No.
Yeah.
See what
Yeah.
we do. Lots of goings on. This is from last month. The fifth, we have a lot of collaboration last month. The fifth and the first grade took a little hike up the road to the Moeller's farm. And they were regaled by, they have a very tight knit community up there. And so they're all farmers and they're all kind of education focused. And they just made this great farmy kind of party. It was like Ag Fest, but at Megan's house. So that was exciting. And with their little, this isn't their normal buddy group, but she has children in both of those places. And so that was the
So do they
combination.
walk along the road or do they walk along the Christmas tree?
They walked along the road, and everyone had yellow glowing vests on, and I believe there was a flag. There was a lot of caution and consideration.
Good.
The kids were instructed to speed walk.
It was the coolest field trip ever, I have heard, from both a parent and
I heard good
a
things, too.
son. Yeah.
They really did it up for them. Well, they had done, they were preparing it for a 4-H visit, and they were like, well, the farm's already clean. Do you guys want to come by and like do the same thing? And so we took advantage of that offer. We got a lot of plant-based education in second, and the kinders in third grade also collaborated. They've been a really strong buddy group all year long. I think they're a great example because they actually try to meet weekly, and these will just share their learning with each other. Here's what I'm learning. Here's what I'm learning. I'm going to read you a story. I'm going to read you a story, and then it's just a little kind of quick check-in. And sometimes they'll go on field trips together. In this case, they planted planters for the plant sale together. So they learned a song that they sang, and then they went outside, and I got to be part of that one. It was really fun. Art and music, I got them in here separately. They were at the same event, but it was really great to see the kids showcasing their work, both musically and graphically. Karen's working on ceramics. I think they had their first start today. It was a lot of muddy hands coming out of the art room, which is how we like to see it.
Please pass on to her that Oscar, when he was discussing art at Franklin, where it's a real class, you don't get to just do stuff.
Right.
And I said, so you like Miss Karen better? Miss Karen's the GOAT.
Okay.
And share that with
She'll
them.
have to Google what that. She
Google
does. She
She
does.
does.
She does. Thank you. I'll share that, of course. And then our fourth graders have been doing a couple of different projects. I didn't know which one to choose, but I went with their field trip. Heather does a really great, like an agriculture unit, and she features different industries in Oregon that are agriculture related. She has woven in some pollinator lessons and learning about the different native bees. That was one of the things that she's been doing here on campus, and doing observation and research on that. She did an analysis of tulip farming in Oregon with the kids, which is kind of it's an interesting crossover because my family were tulip farmers and my whole life, and so I get to go in and be a little guest speaker and talk about tulips and farming in Oregon and industry and the how-tos, and then she took them to Deck Family Farms, which is I think a variety of things, but primarily a cattle farm, and so they got to see the operation
Where is
there.
that?
I think it's nearby. I just don't know. You have to ask Heather.
Don't know that name.
Yeah. And all the kids walk away with a pound of ground beef.
Oh, wow. That's why that's in the freezer.
Yes, that's
Cool.
why you got ground
I'm
beef.
gonna eat it.
It's very good. And then well, the other project that they're working on right now, they just have to feature it because I think it's kind of neat. The kids, you know how there's the runoff makes like a little erosion creek through the playground. So that class has taken like their study of erosion to a different level, and they are like actually trying to create a legit muddy creek. And so they're out there with their shovels and like testing the water flow, and they're using things to block. It's like a water table, but like the whole length of the playground. And it's been really interesting to see them
They're down in
at work.
Junction
Junction.
on High Path.
I think historically that used to be the main activity out there.
Mhm.
I think the kibosh was put on with much objection from some of the constituents, and it's good to see that
They're getting muddy.
It's
They're
muddy
filling
creek.
up those boots. The other thing that I wanted to share, were there any questions about that?
Good time.
The other thing that I wanted to share, we talked about, we've been talking about staff survey for a while. And there was a concern kind of brought up that staff didn't have a vehicle for sharing their feelings about the operations of the school and or this is a workplace. And in talking to each other, Jill Pine, our counselor, who was also on the board of the Montessori school, said, here's a survey that we do with our staff, and would this be something that you'd be interested in utilizing? And I've been trying to think of what to do anyway, sort of perfect timing. So I looked at that and decided it would actually be a really good like annual check-in with staff. A lot of places do this, and I think it's something that is missing often in education. People just kind of, and then they don't ever ask anybody how things are. So what I liked about a lot of the questions is they can be used as like an annual metric, and like maybe show growth, maybe identify places where change can occur. So I'll just go through them one at a time, and you've got them in front of you too, but they might be a little small. So the first question was, overall, how satisfied are you with, and then like in different categories. And let me see if I can, so working at Muddy Creek is the first one. And blue is extremely satisfied, red is satisfied, yellow is neutral. So overall, people seem satisfied with working at Muddy Creek. They were satisfied with the amount of personal time off they received and class sizes. So these taller red and yellow ones. And
What's the second one?
this one is with the, I have to look that one up. I can't see it on my,
It doesn't show up.
yeah, hold on one second. I think I can find it without presenting it. So I'll show you let me show you the questions. Maybe. Yes. Okay. Second question was with the opportunities for, you know what, hold on. I don't know if I can, sorry, Jamie, I don't think I can share that because I'm in a different profile, but the second one was with the opportunities for professional development and growth provided by Muddy Creek. And that was pretty okay. With your pay salary, that was number 3 here. And this is where we see the most like extremely dissatisfied. Yeah, it's a limitation, definitely, for a charter school. And next one was with your career progression, with your future career possibilities, and then personal time off you receive, medical dental benefits, and then exercise.
Nobody's super excited though
No.
about anything for the most part.
Yeah. It's like they're, yeah, okay.
What's
It's
the
okay.
last two?
Acceptable.
Extremely satisfied.
No one's extremely satisfied with anything.
You go back and let me, what is the last two?
It's a tough.
I'm sorry.
Yeah. Medical dental benefits,
Mhm.
and then
And
class
class
size.
Thanks.
The second question was, what aspects of your job bring you the most satisfaction? A lot of these were comments, and so I've summarized them. The categories of satisfaction include students and families, number 1 by a lot. Being able to teach with place and project-based work. That's something that a lot of teachers don't get to do in a lot of schools. That kind of goes hand in hand with teacher autonomy. There's a lot more freedom to kind of go with the flow of your class and your interests. And then they really like being a part of a small school and a small community. They cited things like being able to know everybody's names, everybody's family's names, knowing what the, you know, what the dogs are doing last night, and you know, it's a very interconnected. Third question was, what aspects of your job contribute most to your dissatisfaction? And again, sort of 4 significant categories: pay scale and benefits by a landslide. And then several cited that they didn't agree with leadership. So that's me, and maybe a little you, but probably mostly me. Behavior management seemed lacking, and unrealistic expectations from family.
Does the behavior management surprise you?
It does. I mean, it does and it doesn't, because I know it was a little imbalanced in ways this year because we had a very specific situation that drew a lot of resource. And it's so much better than it was last year. And we're already making plans for next year to continue that growth from a systems perspective, but also just on a school-wide expectations setting perspective.
Was some of this also about the future of behavior management, and everybody had different ideas of like, no? Okay.
This was just, how does it feel right now?
The unrealistic expectations from families.
Yeah, what
Is
was
that, I almost, well, is that lower than it is at most school? I almost feel like I'm kind of surprised that's not higher.
Higher in
You know,
terms of dissatisfaction?
I feel like there's so many folks who have unrealistic expectations for what to expect from school that I would expect that to be one of the most frustrating parts about being a teacher. I mean,
And I would guess that's been on this list for the last 100 years.
Yeah.
When
But
you,
could you tell, because this
you
is
know,
all comments, could you tell us, did they give you examples?
Yeah, so some of the, I mean, what I hear just anecdotally too, I mean, we all talk about this stuff too, but so I think the inconsistency is what's hard to predict. So you have a handful of parents who want to know every single time their little darling falls down or has a feeling. And it's like, okay, well, we'll try to accommodate, but you know, we also have a lot of other kids here. And then there's on the other side of the spectrum, there's some families who are like, stop calling me, you handle it. And it's really hard to be able to predict who wants what level of what kind of thing. And
My
so
darling would say
yeah,
that.
that's the other piece is that you know, sometimes we'll be investigating something that happened and we'll say, parents, this thing happened. And they're like, no, it didn't happen. And we'll say, well, you know, we have it on the video and 3 people saw it happen. So we're pretty sure it happened. No, my child would never. And that is very common to every single school. That's not just a medical. And honestly, I have to give a shout out to the teachers here because they are much more willing and feel compelled to communicate with families individually. And that's the beautiful part about being in a small school and a small community is that you develop that rapport with the families over time. And I've never seen teachers be that willing to just be like, I'm just going to call them every day. If that's what's going to help the situation, we're going to call mom every day. We're going to text mom every day. I'm going to do that and keep track of this data. And we're going to go to meetings and we're going to solve this problem. We're going to, and it's remarkable and extraordinary. So I get the feeling of like unrealistic expectations, but they are also totally keeping up with those. So it is one of the harder parts of the job generally.
So one thing, and this is just my curiosity, I've always wondered if because it's a charter school and parents are self-selecting to come here, do you feel like families are more involved in a good way or a bad way than like general public school?
I think so. I mean, I've never had parents want to be so involved, but I also, the nature of my schools were different than here. It was a different community, different population as well. But yeah, I think there's also this piece of Muddy Creek that like it feels like private school, but it is public school. And so there's like this more of a sense of I want to be involved in decision making and I want to collaborate with you. In a lot of ways, it's great.
You feel like there's more volunteers? Because there for a few years, it was pulling hair to get somebody to come in.
Yeah.
So you think
We've got a few. I mean, Alex's partner is fantastic. She comes in all the time and helps just whenever we need her, right? We just call and she's there. We have a handful of volunteers who are like that. And then we have a few that are just like, I'm ready for these big events or I'm ready for every field trip. And yeah, we get a lot of that.
And with leadership, like you're going to work with them in staff meetings about all of that?
Oh, maybe. And next question was, if the administration or board were going to focus on one thing for a Muddy Creek in place, did I skip one?
3, right? Did we talk 3? Oh yeah, we did. Never mind. Sorry.
I might have a typo too. I kind of do this quickly. What would the focus be? And you can see overwhelmingly salary increase. And there were a lot of write-in answers, but they use different words, but they all kind of equaled staff morale. Which is something we've been talking about this year, like trying to get more team building and more. We did like an outside of school party for Christmas, and that was great. But it seems like we all want to do it more, but then nobody really wants to schedule it. So we're trying to think of ways that we could do more team building and figure out what that morale piece is. So that's something I'm really very curious about.
Morale is relative. How is it relative to what you know about what you've seen?
Yeah, I think that's my question. So I need to do a little bit more investigation. It's around, I mean, most of the flavor that I was gleaning from it was around feeling valued and feeling seen and hearing that they're valued and seen. And it's true that I have not.
That they haven't felt valued?
Yeah. So
Yeah, there's
that,
something on here about like at work, my opinion seemed to count, right? That wasn't, right, in the next, we're gonna come up to that. Sorry.
there you go. Are there any particular benefits that you feel are missing from Muddy Creek that you appreciate having? These were the top 4.
How is PERS contribution on there? I thought that was, isn't that just, this is what you have to do?
No, they want a PERS pickup, meaning they don't do any PERS. The district did that to us one year, so they started paying our part that we had to pay, as well as their,
Oh,
in lieu of a raise.
And do they do that still, or was that a,
I can't answer
Short-term.
that, I don't know.
Nobody. But it's, and it wasn't,
beneficial to us in reality.
yeah, it's a big chunk of their paycheck, for sure. And, you know, something we could consider as we roll into the new budget, but maybe not all, but maybe some.
But it's just, that PERS piece is just so out of control. I just don't know what's gonna happen there.
Benefits for family members came up from a few people. Again, that's that piece where the district does pay the premium for family members, whereas we do not. Last year, there was a big push for like a payout of PTO, and we've talked about it a lot, but they get a certain number of days, right, sick leave and personal leave, and there was like an interesting thing that happened last year that surprised me, and that was that everyone took all their sick leave in May and June, and I didn't have any subs, and it was a stressor on the building and the admin, and I said, you guys, we've got to figure this out. We're not going to do this again. And so help me figure out when they were like, well, we don't get paid very much, and here's this stuff, and it's my money to have, or my days to have. And so we talked about it a lot and found out that we could potentially save stress for the kids and the building and the admin. Because when somebody's gone, then somebody else has to pick up, like not just me, but like everybody else has to pick up for people who are gone, especially if they're gone for like a week or longer or whatever. And it's, so we said, instead of making a challenge of let's use up all your hours, we can actually, as a school, save money by paying out their PTO at the end of the year, because it doesn't roll. And so I put it into the staff handbook this year. They get paid up for 4 days, any remaining days 4 or less. So like 4 days, we give them 4 days. If they have 3 days left, they get the 3 days, whatever.
and
No
that's
half
built
days.
into the budget? Because
It,
that's extra cash payout.
but
You don't
if they
have to
take
pay
it
the
as a
sub.
challenge, then I don't have to pay the sub on top of it. So it's actually half
Yeah,
what I
but
pay.
if it's cheaper,
Okay.
if it's cheaper to pay that out than it is a daily sub rate would win,
Okay,
because they're
that's what I'm getting at,
Yeah.
because,
So
'Cause-
we're not
they're
carrying
taking it,
over
like we're paying one way
anything,
or
right?
another.
No
'Cause,
carryover.
I mean, if I were in their shoes, I'd be taking it.
well, yeah.
And they have
So
2
is-
personal and 1 personal.
Well, I
and
changed
3?
it to just personal time off, because the other thing was that there was some like
I think that's the new thing.
non-truthiness
Oh, is it?
of,
Yeah.
you know, I'm taking, oh, I've just woken up sick,
We,
you know, and so that there was not much, and they're very good. But
we do that with our residents too. It's no longer divvied into
it's your time.
vacation and sick days. It's
Right.
here it is. And if you
Sick
used
days.
it up and you're sick, it sucks to be you.
So that's the approach I took, and I feel like it treats them like the professionals that they are,
Right.
and they can make those decisions about how to use their time and not, and then they know that they've got this like bank of 4 days that they can have at the end of the school year, and it's like a little bonus if they're not using them.
and how many total days do they get at the beginning of the year?
17?
So,
No, I can't be right. It's 2 weeks and 2 days and 2 weeks,
So 12. I mean, is there a reason you're capping it at 4?
because I can't possibly. I don't want to.
Well,
Yeah, yeah.
I'm just thinking like,
If I mean, that was this is the note.
You still
This
have
is
to
the
have
note,
the
right? That they
cash
don't
on
think 4 is
hand.
enough.
yeah,
We still have to have money to pay them.
I'm just
And
wondering.
the rate is, I think,
Yeah.
I said it was like $200 a day for licensed staff and $100 a day for classified staff. So it's less than their normal daily rate, but it's like averaged too. So,
And
That's
how much,
not their
how much is the
daily
daily rate?
necessarily.
How much is the daily rate for a sub?
it's like $30 an hour with all the edge stuff costs.
$30. Is it 8 or how?
4 or 8.
You can't do any less.
240.
You either pay them for 4 or 8.
So we're saying per day, we're saving 40.
But you still have to have the cash to
Yeah.
give it all at the end. The sub might
I just
not be
can't
all at
believe
the end.
they did
That's,
that.
you
The
know,
1+.
That's disappointing.
Well, I mean, I can see both sides, and I'm
Yep.
really glad that we worked through a solution that was amenable to all of us. And
probably not what anybody would have chosen,
yeah,
but a compromise.
it was a good compromise.
Mhm.
And it was many meetings worth of talking about it. So
I mean, I'm going back and forth, like, because theoretically, if you started out at the beginning of the year,
mhm.
someone could go ahead and budget their time accordingly and potentially have more money in the sub budget at the end of the year to allocate towards that.
Yeah.
Like, I'm not opposed to expanding that to like 6 or adding a couple things to it.
Let's see
I
how it
think
goes
it's
this year, because
right.
at this
It's worth,
point,
Yeah.
give this a rip and
you know,
we can change it.
Yeah.
Beginning-
I would be curious to see how many people actually do get cashed out.
I'd say around half of the staff are not going to have anything left. So that's the other kind of piece. In general, I know it's expected of me at work. I have the materials and equipment to do my work right. I work my opinions count. I would recommend the Muddy Creek to friends and family as a school. And the amount of work expected of me is reasonable. It's easy to get along with my colleagues.
I'm curious, as we go through this, the purple person, is that one person?
Yes.
Okay, that's what I figured. When the surveys come through from my program, I usually know who put, they're anonymous, but it's a small group. And so I wondered if there's one purple people leader there.
There's one purple and one green.
Yeah. Don't need to know who they are,
Nope.
but I was just curious, because if it's different people, that tells you something different.
It does.
Yeah, different kind of information with that.
Yeah. So in looking at the responses to me, what I see is overall responses were neutral to strongly agree. We're all kind of in that acceptable zone. The area for improvement is opinions being heard. And I wondered if there's two things that I've kind of observed in that area. One, this year I changed the way that we meet. Last year we had a staff meeting every week on Fridays, and I really enjoyed that. I also met with individuals once a month. So every month, every employee, 15, 20 minutes. In scheduling this year and structuring it, I wanted to do more like decentralization of me. That was a really difficult schedule for me to maintain, though I felt really more connected to the staff. And I needed that in my first year just to understand and really make it something that was regular and predictable, our communication. And then this year I changed it to one staff meeting a month. And then, so that's first Friday, second Friday, it was meeting with the leadership team, which is like Mika and Tom, and then Faye and Joe and Dana. And then Mika would go the next Friday and meet with her primary team, and Tom would meet with the secondary team. And we do kind of back and forth communication through that channel. And then the last Friday of the month was PLC teams. I think that was how we did it. I didn't know there was one other one. We ended up switching it out. And because that was too long in between staff meetings. So we ended up doing first Friday staff meeting, second Friday leadership, third Friday staff meeting, fourth Friday PLC. And with some trainings kind of thrown in there as needed. And I didn't do the one-on-one meetings, but we did our like a quarterly meeting most of the time with most people to go through their like evaluations. So where I feel like this is how the opinions not being heard part is there's not as much direct to me, and some of the opinions are just not the same as the rest of the building. So some people have some opinions that are in contrast to what the rest of the team wants to do, thinks is right, considers best practice. And so that can feel really disappointing, right? If you have strong opinions and they're just not the ones that are adopted. And so I know some specifics around that. But it did make me think about, you know, how we're going to structure that for next year and what we can add back in terms of being heard. And there's a difference to me between being heard and agreeing to do what you want to do. And that's, I think, a really hard moment for some people. I have the same thing. Does that make sense?
I think this is a step in the right direction to do things like this. So we are gathering data and they are able, even though we're not reading their comments, you are.
Yeah.
So you are getting their opinion.
Yeah.
So.
And I think the piece that surprised me the most about the survey was that I do have open door policy. My door is literally open all day long. And because we were meeting monthly last year, it was like, I almost had to like close the door sometimes just to get some work done because people were in and out, talking my ear off, giving me their ideas, asking for help, doing all this stuff. And then it surprised me to hear some of the things that came through on this because I would have expected them to come talk to me if they were having concerns or questions or didn't feel away. So it was a nice little eye opener for me to like reach out and make connections with each one of them. Just kind of immediately went and talked to every single person. How are you doing? What's going on? How can I be helpful? So that's, yeah, it was good. I prefer talking to them as individual people. So that would be better instead of saving it up for an anonymous survey, but that's what we got. How often do you feel burned out at work? This pie chart looks accurate for all teachers everywhere.
It's pretty good, really.
And the always is again one person.
People eater.
So, but mostly people are saying rarely or sometimes. That makes sense. Schools are stressful. And often and always are. That's not great, but
You put number on there as a joke.
Yeah, right.
It's easy.
0 answers. This one was, do you plan to return next year? And have more than half is a yes. Some unsure.
It's interesting
No.
that someone, at least by their responses, is really unhappy here, but they're not a no to return. That sounds like not a fun way to spend your days because you spend all day at work.
You know, and it was true this year too. It's a really hard industry right now because nobody's hiring. And when it might be natural for someone to seek out a different environment, there's not an environment. And so then you have to have a job, so you stay, right? But
that
would, we've all been
not,
there.
Yeah, not be great.
I mean, this question also has 2 people who didn't respond to it, who responded to other questions. Based on the percentages,
Oh,
you've had
so maybe
14
they're no's.
there were 14 responders on some of the other questions. This one
I
was 12.
didn't pick up on that
So
detail.
Carol had 12, no?
12. should have been.
Based on The only way to get 7.1% is 1 out of 14.
Did I not make it a required one? How did I do?
And not
So-
everybody responded too.
Yeah, only 12 respondents.
There was one of the pie charts said 7.1%.
It was a required question, so I don't know.
How they got out of
I
it?
would
How they
think,
got out of
well, I would think if you're not sure this is anonymous, that is a very hard question to
Yeah.
answer.
Question
It
4.
could be. I tried to be really honest
yeah.
with the staff and say, I understand that, I've written a lot of letters of recommendation this year for people who are interested in leaving.
Oh.
If they have the opportunity to do that, I tried to make
Based
it
on
clear
those,
that
it's
I
1 out of
support
14.
them as human beings. And if you need to make a change, you need to make a change. If you want to stay, I'm gonna try and make it.
Well, and
Pleasant
especially if the
and-
market's bad, you can easily replace them. I mean, that sounds awful, but
That's reality.
yeah,
This staff
I'm
is
just
so
saying from a
special.
standpoint of worrying
Like,
about
there are so many
staffing.
people that are not replaceable here, like for the impact they've had on our kids. I don't ever want that in the notes even that these people are. I'm sorry, but like my kids go here, like they are part of our lives.
I get that, but if someone's really that unhappy, you don't, I don't want someone to be here and be miserable working here. That's my point. And if they are and they want to go somewhere, there are probably good people looking for jobs. That's all I meant, not kick everybody out. They're all replaceable. That's not what I meant. I feel bad that someone answers everything that they're unhappy. That's a miserable way to work.
Yeah.
And I've personally been in that situation in different jobs, and it is unpleasant.
Yeah.
And I don't think it doesn't make, and when you don't come to work with like enthusiasm and a bright outlook, then it
With
affects
kids especially.
coworkers and your
And
other.
they can range you up and down.
Just
They know.
can turn into toxic.
It's also only one survey.
Yeah.
I mean, and it'd be nice to know where's that person at today, or how have these things been addressed?
For sure.
Mhm.
Number 9, have you considered leaving your position at Muddy Creek in the past year? And if you have, what were the reasons? Low pay scale benefits was top of that chart.
Did you have the percentage of yes no's on that?
No. I didn't ask again. I just said if you. This is a
Okay.
words answer.
Okay. Yeah.
A couple people cited poor and unethical leadership.
Wow.
Do they get details?
I got some details, but mostly it was just sort of a felt name calling me, but it's not always a popular position. So I can understand that. It's hard for me to glean like the areas that I can improve in without specifics or without having conversation. So for me, it's like, okay, I hear that there's pain. I hear that something's missing, but I don't know what it is. And in some cases, and I don't think I'm acting unethically, but I'm sure someone will tell me later.
But even just saying that to the people who felt that way, hearing that said can be helpful from other places where I've worked. Sometimes going over these results with the staff and saying, hey, I heard that, I heard you, I want to know more about that, come talk to me about it. That can be a powerful way to kind of diffuse that, because maybe the emotion is just bottled up. They don't know how to express it or what to do with it.
And
So
maybe they're talking
it's-
about you guys. I don't know.
Probably.
Yeah, we are out of touch. We are out of touch and annoying. So yeah.
Oh, too.
Yeah.
I know, but I don't mean to take it lightly. I do. It's the source of reflection for me. And it was one of those things where I thought, wow, I just, when I have conversations with people, I feel a way. And then I got the survey and I was like, okay, well, there's more than the conversations there.
Please,
So
I'll come back for a new conversation.
that's my hope. Open invitation to staff watching. Again, the behavior management was a concern for a couple people, and computer tech field, that was not mine. I did not survey this.
Can we move the school closer?
I know.
Well,
but-
but we've heard that the commute's long and gas is expensive
true.
and it all falls into
True.
that same, you get paid less here, but you're driving farther.
And I think this is, to me, that's more of a, like, if somebody left because they're like, look, I just can't do it anymore, I would get that. Sure, it's
Yeah.
life. You get a job closer to your home, you take it. So I get that. but at least it doesn't feel like something I can fix. And then there was a little bit of concern about not making good on our place-based mission.
See, that confuses me.
Mhm.
They're in charge of the teaching.
Yeah.
So if they're not making good of it, whose fault is that?
Yeah.
Did you get any constructive? I was wondering that too. Like, did you get any constructive feedback from those comments or not?
I have more questions than answers. I will say that, but I think it's a great, we talk about it often as a staff, like how can we support each other and what can we draw on from like as resources. And I think they're doing a much better job overall this year at PlaySpace than they did last year. So, you know, and they're making a progression. This one was, I think it was connected to using curriculum. And so there was a feeling, it seemed like that if we're using curriculum, then we're not doing place-based education. And so to my ear, that's like, well, we have to instruct, we've had this conversation. We have to instruct the kids and then they can utilize their instruction in their place-based education. So it's not one or the other for me.
And the
It's
day
a little of each.
made up for that, right?
Yeah.
For the afternoon.
Or in the morning, afternoon.
That's when I would bother me. It's like, hey, lady, mister, you're doing your own lesson planning.
But if they don't like the curriculum,
I
that
dug
makes
into,
sense.
I think they don't like
right?
curriculum.
I dug into
Yeah.
this question a little bit.
Not
Well, I don't think you'll find
Go ahead.
any teaching
Like a specific
position that
curriculum.
there's
They don't
not
like the.
They don't
the
like
specific
you
curriculum.
using
that
a
you didn't
curriculum.
pick.
Okay, so it's not, this brand doesn't work with my readers.
That's
It's,
how I understood it.
Because they were too long, in my opinion. And you had to kind of bring them back so they all, you know, from one grade to the next, you know, they're getting the basics. And when they didn't have any kind of reading and everybody did their own thing and this person complained because it was too much to do your own thing. And it was,
And
it
we got
really, in
younger
my opinion,
teachers
shows
too.
up on test scores that there's no rhyme or reason of what you're teaching. Oh, today I feel like teaching snails, but it's not even in your curriculum. I mean, the standards, even if you're doing place grades, you should be paying attention to the standards for your grade level.
Oh,
You know? And I don't think people were.
I should say, I forgot to preface, I did send this to staff, but we haven't had a chance to talk about it like we're talking about it. So I intend to ask the same questions, and hopefully we'll get a little more clarity. Yeah. And I think the other thing too, I just want to say that you can sometimes tell, like you said, Jackie, it's anonymous. I'm not tracking anybody, but
It's hard to
it's a
be.
small staff,
yeah.
and
Mhm.
and you can tell if somebody's in a bad mood, you know, when they're filling out a survey. And so I do like the idea of doing it at different times too, so that it's not like it's spring and everybody's disgruntled and MOUs came out and they're not what I expected. And you know, spring break was too short and now you're gonna have it all. Here's everything that I feel. So I don't know. I'm gonna think about that tonight. Okay, specific challenges or obstacles you encounter in your role that you believe could be addressed to improve job satisfaction. Increase behavior support. Wish staff were more cohesive and all supporting the same systems. I wish that too. More communication from admin to staff. Less communication from admin to staff. And increased financial transparency.
See, that confuses me.
You know, I don't know if it makes sense to start. What I thought about doing, because we get the emails from Tanya with all the financials. It's all public record. We could post it to the website along with everything else that goes out for board. I don't know, a lot of people do. We don't have to keep it in. I just think it's boring enough that nobody really cares about it. But if people want to see it, we could show it to them.
2 years, must have been 2 years ago. And so I came in and 3 staff members showed up and they didn't want to listen. They just said, we need more money for our classroom. Well, look at the curve and look at the electricity and we don't care. We just, you know, it was just a broken record. So
So what you're saying is you would like to come in and go over things again? Is that what I'm hearing?
I mean,
She'd do it. I bet she'd do it.
it's just, I know they're not paid like we wish we could, but that's all you're gonna hear.
The
And
teachers at the district aren't paid
Paid.
what they should be either. No
Mhm.
teachers are paid what they should.
and
be.
I mean, yeah, of course I believe that, but
I think having these meetings like streamed and recorded too are helpful because I've heard a lot of staff say that they watch and they're hearing more about the conversations than they ever did before. So I mean, I would think that's helpful if they're curious enough to engage in that at that level. I don't know. The first board meeting I ever went to was with you guys. So as a teacher, it did not interest me. I was not prepared to share my evening hours with my my district, but they seem to.
There was one that had like 115 views. That's crazy. Yeah.
On
We need
repeat.
to monetize that.
Nobody needs to watch
Commercials.
HBO anymore.
Live folks.
That was all you though, right? Just watching it over
Every
and over.
revenue
Yeah.
stream.
Reliving
Did you
the
find a
fun.
farm? Like a.
That's where those dad jokes come in handy.
Investors making us go viral.
Well, that's what I
Name
think that was it, huh?
Yeah.
There
Good job,
was something else that was like a little hard to quantify, so I didn't include it, but I'm not gatekeeping, this wasn't something interesting.
Thank you for putting this out there.
Yeah.
Thank you
Yeah.
for going over it. Thank you for sending it to the staff too, so everybody's on the same page. That really helps.
I
This
had,
is really hard and like,
and I'll,
Yeah.
you know, it's not easy to hear some of it, but
Yeah.
that's the tough part of my job. But and just full disclosure, I had always intended for everybody to see it. The comments that came through were included too many personal comments about other staff. They were using other people's names. They were disparaging their contribution.
Oh, on
In
the,
some cases,
on the form.
they were disparaging me too, but I can take it. But it's like if I had to shut it down because we can't do that, and I can't bring you the whole thing either because this is a public forum, and that's a violation of privacy. So not everybody did that, but there were enough in there that I was uncomfortable sharing it the way that it was.
I'm surprised.
You know, that anonymous form, and I think there was a misunderstanding. Some people thought that the information was going to you directly, and not to me, and so I think there was an increased level of
Hatred?
I was going to
Perhaps that's
say
strong.
bravery, but
So-
courage. But yeah,
In the past, over the years, Karen, you can correct me if I'm wrong, but the board had issued some surveys to the staff. Sometimes we didn't have an ED, sometimes we did, but anyway, we did what we learned at the training. We shouldn't be doing it. Yeah, that should come from ED staff, and that's where that communication is.
Well, I view this as being hopefully a conversation starter
Yeah.
for you and the staff,
Me too.
where they can air their grievances. Maybe it starts a little bit negative, but hopefully it becomes something more positive. So I think if we keep investing in it, it's a good thing.
I agree. That was my impression when I saw the survey that Jill kind of emailed around. So that's my hope, and we'll keep on trying.
Thank you.
thank you. Thanks for trying something new.
Yeah.
Of course.
All
If there's
right.
anything we can do to help them on place-based education, we're down.
Okay,
Right?
you guys are always so helpful.
Yeah. It's
We're
fun.
coming to your house next.
Oh my
That's it.
Lord.
Walk down the 99.
Yeah, good luck.
When they went to Muller's, they should have come down the hill because we have baby geese swimming around.
Oh my
Aw.
gosh.
7 of them.
All right, next
Are
time.
you ready for kids in the next?
Dangerous.
How
Uh,
clean's your farm?
the kindergarten classes come every year. And it was always fun to have them. And one year they all went swimming.
The kinders or the geese? Both?
No, the kids.
Oh no.
Well, it was Kim's daughter.
Uh-huh.
She was in kindergarten and she started it because they used to come down and swim in the pond.
My son has been swimming in your pond when he's been at Brody's. Yeah.
And
I didn't realize that was yours. I just knew he'd been
Oh, yeah.
swimming in some pond over there.
so then, is it Emmy? Emmy.
Emmy.
Emmy started it, and then somebody, and Kim didn't care. She was there. Well, then this person, I'm thinking, I hope some of these parents understand. I hope this parent called. But I mean, they can't drown. It was just they were sopping wet and freezing cold, and
Headed back to school.
it was
Place-based.
That is.
That was
awesome.
placement.
Place- place-
Place-
experiential.
In the right
Mhm.
place.
Baby geese makes me think there's some overprotective geese parents flying around.
well, you have two.
Things are
You used to have
ruthless.
3 pairs.
My
and now we have
parents are
2.
in Iowa and there are these, I think they're fake ponds at the apartment complex. And there was a goose who was nesting in a bush. And then Papa, they put orange cones up on the sidewalk because he was patrolling the sidewalk. And I was out walking and these people were walking their big dog
Mm.
and
Who won
the
that fight?
male
The
came
goose.
and dive bombed
Oh, yeah.
the woman. And I think
They're
she was
hardcore.
like, what is going on? Because I'm sure they hadn't seen
Yeah.
the nest. And yeah, I came down just to kind of see, and he came down, got in the water, swam across, and he was like this with me. I'm on the phone with somebody. And I start walking and he's swimming parallel, looking at
Oh
me
my
the
God.
whole time. I was like,
Goose
wow, that's a
patrol.
good dad.
Geese are ruthless.
I need to
don't
get some more.
run.
I'll be right back.
When I take Bailey for her run, we put corn out. And Bailey always gets, she's a yellow lab, she always gets in the water and swims. Well, they just move over here a little way. And the second we pull away, here they come for the corn. But now if there's other geese or ducks down there, they'll fly when Bailey comes, but not the ones that are.
This Papa Goose was all over it.
Oh, yeah, they're very protected.
All right, Jamie, you still with us?
Yes, I am still here. I'm
Nice.
listening about the goose.
All right, we got.
Okay, moving on.
All right, let's keep it moving. Karen, are you up for the?
Oh, Tanya never sent
There's that.
April's. But she did send the updated budget. But it should be on your your Google Mail.
Mhm.
But she doesn't have any dollars in there for subjects.
The new one?
Yeah.
I thought we talked about it being in a different line item.
But
I
I've
haven't
not
seen
seen
it
anything
stuff.
about subs. She did add that Oregon paid leave thing. But this is weighted for 132 with 120 enrollment and then the weighted 12. And so we don't know yet from the state, do we? Nope. And
I do have 122 committed families for next year.
122.
Wow.
Nice.
Mhm. And we were able to start enrolling them. So that's happened this week.
Get them. Get them in.
But now how she does it, if the bottom line is 31,000, is that for 51,000? 30. And then you have to subtract the 25 to the district. So we're right barely.
Mhm.
But yeah, 2 kids in this. So, but I don't know why there's no sub line item.
No, I'll ask her about that. They're going on vacation for like 10 days, starting Tuesday.
I don't know why she didn't send in April. I asked her and this is all she sent me. And for
Don't
Garth,
remember
he
if I
can't-
don't think I signed it yet. Did you sign the bank statements for April yet?
he hasn't sent it for
He hasn't
April.
signed it. Okay, so that's
He can't get into Key Bank. Did you get a call from Key Bank that you need a new signature card? Because for the
I didn't understand the
for
message.
the CD.
Okay.
So I said, yeah. So I'll try to do that tomorrow.
Oh, would be helpful if I also went tomorrow. I've got some.
Well, I'll ask them
flexibility.
if you really both need one. I don't understand why you need it. I don't, that's a weird
Did
thing.
everybody get the audit survey?
Did you fill it
Oh,
out?
you guys got one too?
I totally forgot to.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
I don't think I had it either.
Okay, I think like one of us can miss, but like
Okay, I'll
most of
do it
us
tomorrow.
have
Send
to
it back.
do it.
Yeah, I'm so
Yeah.
sorry.
So
Thank
whoever-
you.
And
whoever
I-
profited off their position can skip.
Yeah.
So what's she having
All
here?
Oh, did you see, you got the estimate for the, you have to change that because I think it was like
Yeah,
15.5
for
for
audits.
next year,
Here, she has 12,000.
but it's like 16.
It's up to almost $17,000.
Patrick and I are just gonna do it next year.
Great.
Yeah, can you?
I charge $12. We did.
Can we buy you dinner?
We can buy you every dinner.
That feels like a bribe.
$16,000.
Oh, okay, never mind.
Alright.
Okay.
Has to be under $25.
Right, $24.
And there's no good dinner.
And of course, the district pays
None of the tariffs.
Half of it.
Oh, yeah.
well, she has it in here, right? Because she has a total of 18 with us paying 12 and district paying 6.
I don't know, the district's
Districts
paying
used to pay
half.
half.
Half?
That was under the new contract, district's supposed to pay half the audit.
All right, glad you said that.
Fees, half.
Well, it says 12 and 6, so 6 is half of 12,
Well,
but it totals.
Yeah, so it's a total 17 or whatever it is, and then it should be half from our general fund, half from theirs.
yeah, but the total audit cost, the district's supposed to pay half.
Oh, well, this is wrong then. And did you get my email about the electricity?
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah, thank you. About like the one Jeff's not here, talk to somebody at 50J.
Well, then
Or
Oh,
maybe, sorry.
I did that. And then
Yeah.
also each month electricity.
Oh, I did not see that, no.
That stupid Google Mail. It keeps showing that it's,
Another
draft,
Jessica?
a draft.
No, I got
Okay.
your,
So I
the
go
the-
into draft and there's this, just a
The-
line.
one where you said, as of the end of March, we have spent 13,267 on utilities.
Yeah.
That's a lot.
Yeah,
Oh, I
that's it.
didn't- I didn't- oh,
You're on there.
Oh, my gosh.
Yeah,
okay.
it's right here.
There,
Wow. Hey, actually,
Where we turn off the
and
heat
also I
for the
noticed
hall.
the
there we go.
I'll save money
bill
for sure.
from
Put 'em on a
the
hamster
exact
wheel.
same, like I compared, I think Marches, because I don't think, yeah, Marches were 200 and something more this year than last year. I know, sorry, Karen, that the art heater was on by mistake for one weekend. So if we could all just make sure that staff knows how to do their thing, so the heater's not on when nobody's here.
They're all
things like
programmed.
that.
I
They
mean,
are
utilities-
programmed.
Karen's gonna do hers manually. So everybody else's are programmed.
Oh, like as a building, same thing? Okay.
Each individual room has a different program, but they are all, well, they were all set at the same time at the beginning of the school year, so I don't know. We can go double check it. We're about to go through and turn off all the heat. Good, so that will hopefully help.
And then, yeah, because I think this is also during spring break, so also making sure everything's off for spring break, like things like that. So just make sure. That's not a dad joke, but a dad is
Turn off the lights. Yeah.
And that done was done. Yeah.
So-
Candle making classes.
Yes, please.
We can wait until next month to vote on this?
We should.
Okay. Yeah. It kind of makes me nervous when there's, and I haven't noticed anything else missing. And our liability insurance for the board's 23,000.
Used to be
What
like
about
five.
liability?
Used to be like
Sure.
5.
Huh?
Didn't it used to be like 5?
I don't remember. It's ridiculous.
Have they been watching our meetings?
But this is what teachers don't understand, are these,
Just so it's
Costs.
unpredictable.
Yeah.
costs.
you know, oh, we bring this much
It's what
money in,
nobody
and
understands.
The
that's,
audit is just insane. How is that possibly? I mean, how many audit?
And the fact that it's all electronic now, if they just get everything from Bamboo, and that's
How many
It's not like there
audits do you
some
get
guy
to-
with papers.
You
and
could do,
a-
I could do 1,000 audits a year,
Yeah.
right?
You wouldn't need
You know what I
to.
mean?
Yeah.
Like
Can
2 a
we,
day?
can we
Yeah.
price it out? and see?
There's only one vendor,
Yeah, no, it's a racket.
Well, that's
It's
the problem.
complete-
There's
it's
one vendor.
complete
Yeah.
racket.
and it was
Yeah.
5,000 first year.
Can we
This year
file
was
an
8,000.
antitrust suit?
Yeah. Or can somebody else
I
do
know.
a side hustle and be the
When I
other
talked to
vendor?
district about it, they were like, "Yeah, it's absolutely."
It's a complete racket. Unbelievable. Wow.
But they're in the same boat. So
And liability insurance, is there only one place you go?
Pace, we just changed. We changed the Pace what year
I
and a
think
half ago.
there's
So
at least two.
They
we got a big
Generally
price.
speaking.
They were the
Yeah.
cheapest,
Oh,
right?
really?
See, right now we pay over 200,000 in PERS for the year.
Mm.
Pay for Mike Bellatti's,
Almost.
He's not the highest.
He's all right
Coach
anymore?
Shoe, doctor
Really?
retired. He's a
Wow.
top dog now. PERS retired.
All right, fundraising. We got, let's turn Jessica.
you each have something to share.
Go for it.
Should we tap him? 5,000 coming to music for next year. We have another grant out, but we still have a long runway from Purite grants to make up the other space, so knock on wood. I still have 2,000 grant out for art that we should hear back for this month, but we don't know if we're gonna get it. So I shouldn't even say it. I usually don't. And there was one other thing I was gonna say. Oh, in the solar thing, I feel like we're at kind of a stall. Our guy, Dan, is talking with the 509J office. It sounds like with CPI, it's not the best deal versus, what is the other one that we all use? Pacific
Pacific
Power?
Power.
Pacific Power. There is apparently something coming in 2 years that's gonna like make financing way better, but that's 2 years from now. So I'll let you know when I hear back from him, but he is watching that like a hawk. And so yeah, hold on, happen. And now for the big news, Lester.
You got big news?
You have big news,
Your
right?
your plea for host families.
Oh, yes, that is big news. So we need some host families. I'm not exactly sure how many, but I've got all the forms of the Japanese. And as soon as I get these kids over the bar tomorrow, I'll take a look and see like who they are and what we need. But if you can think of a few people, just write down a quick list and we can give them a call and check them out. So yeah, I
They're
found
swimming
last.
at Karen's house.
What's that?
Yeah.
They're swimming at
Swimming,
Karen's
yeah,
house.
yeah. Duck bites. Good
By
bites.
then, the pond will, doesn't,
Dries up.
it
Where-
doesn't
Do you have fish?
stay.
Can we just go ahead and rent out the cabins for the outdoor school?
We might, yeah, need it. They're going to ultimately. I guess this is for the future, but like they go to an outdoor camp. I was trying to get them where they could go to the old 4-H center, which is now outdoor education, which we should look at outdoor school up there. But they go to a camp for a week first. It's really good if the host can go with them. You can go to a camp for a week together and bond, and then go to the host family and it's anyway, the starting off point is now we need to, list of, names so we can call them. It took about 1 every 10 calls I got last year. It was about the voting rate. So dates are 8 through the 18th with kind of a fuzzy day on each side.
August?
So August, yeah.
All right. And I've got you already on the June newsletter as a refresher.
Okay, thank you.
Nice.
All right. Okay.
And how many again?
10.
Are the families who did it last year interested in doing it again?
Many of them are. Yeah. And the problem becomes is, oh yeah, great. And then it's like, oh no, I'm done on the 15th.
Yeah.
For whatever reason. So like, that's my nervous thing. But many of them did. And there's a couple that were older last year that were like 18. So they're kind of gone. So, yeah.
All right, more to come. I added a housekeeping thing because I almost never get a chance to talk to Patrick about minutes and agendas. And so I'm gonna hijack this meeting and talk about it. You guys can offer helpful advice. Jessica wants to talk about it too. So the thing that is tricky is right now we have, oh no, that's not it. I'll show this tab instead. We have to wrangle some documents. Some things need to always live on our site. And that's a requirement of having the board. So I created this a while ago and it's been working pretty well, but the piece that's not working well is that the minutes live on your computer and not on my Google Drive.
Okay.
And not on the board email, so I don't get them. So what I've been posting is the transcripts from the meeting. But I have a solution and I wonder what you think about this. I can, obviously you can send me the ones you have and I can just update them. But if I looked at other sites and I think that it's okay, we can ask Kristen next weekend, but I think if you were to type the notes like at the bottom of the agenda, then it would automatically be there. And then we just say like draft until you guys approve it, and then we just remove the word draft, and that's something that is easy to do.
The neurotic part of me, because I always send them out as a PDF, so they can't be edited.
Yeah.
So the neurotic part of me is like, I don't want to go and put my name on it if it can go and be edited after the fact. Which, I mean, I'm happy when I send them out to just add you on. I forgot you're not on the board email, so that was a complete
You're
oversight.
the one who kicked me off the board email, Patrick. So there you
I
go.
stand by that decision, and I forgot about it.
Either that or you were testing.
What?
You were testing.
I trust her. I'll be honest. I wouldn't look at the distribution list.
The other thing that you can think to know about is that the location in Google Drive is a shared drive called public, and the settings are kind of pre-cooked. So anybody that's on the board, this is one of the reasons I really wanted you guys to have the Muddy Creek email addresses.
I know.
Is that I can say that you have access to edit documents in this folder called ICP Board, and everybody else can only view it. So when I send out a link to the agenda, you'll see it in edit mode, but they see it in view only.
And is there tracking on changes on there?
There is always tracking changes on Google Docs.
So you can tell who it's like.
Alternatively,
I
if
get
you
what
wanted
he's
to just
saying, though. I don't disagree with
Yeah.
Patrick
Yeah.
on that, but
alternatively, you could make a PDF, drop it in this folder, and tell me when you're done. I mean, that would be fine too, because there's a folder called minutes. Is what are them to? I also have like a personal project this summer. Right now, the majority of the minutes are on Kathy's personal email drive, Gmail drive, and so they have to be pulled over to ours, and that's why this folder is very empty.
Didn't she used to post somewhere?
She created like her own Gmail account, Google account, that is like for use of the board, but it is not Muddy Creek's, it is hers. And so they exist and we're pointing to them in that location, and she has all the right security because Kathy knows how to do that, but problem is it is not in our domain, so I don't have any control over it. She gave me access so I can do it, I just haven't had time to do it. So what do you think, Patrick? What do you feel more like doing? Do you want to drop the PDFs in there and tell me, or?
Give me 2 seconds.
So he's doing it right now.
Yes, he is.
Good. Ooh, so lovely efficiency.
Look at the top one. Monthly. $85,000 a month.
Absolutely, yeah.
Nice.
I think
They are
there's-
in the folder.
Okay.
And then moving forward, what I'll do is I will try to remember to include you on the email. I'm just going to send out the draft email, like send out the draft minutes.
Okay.
I mean, that's still a healthy amount to.
And in the meantime, I've got that
$86,000.
for what? What are we talking about?
For retirees.
There's no reason why there can't be a popular initiative that says first retirement's over $10,000 are taxed at 100%. And the Mike Bellatti's pension is gone and you just reabsorb it.
There
And
should be
he
a
can live
cap.
off of the $1.5 million he made a year. for
There
30
definitely
years.
I feel like we're
should be a
getting down a
cap.
little bit of
A little bit.
Yeah.
We done? Is
Let's just
that
gonna
it?
start talking about JFK next.
You're loving this.
You know something?
He's got
the
a,
file.
he's got a lot of books.
File.
Okay, and then the last reminder is board training next Saturday. Be here 9 o'clock.
Here we go.
Wait, next Saturday?
9 o'clock.
Next
Next
Saturday.
Okay, all right. I promised Bodie, I gotta deliver.
Oh, man.
I have to deliver.
Hey guys, what time is the meeting over on the 17th on Saturday?
It's 2 hours?
I thought it was 9 to noon,
9
but
to
it
noon?
might be that, that was what it was on paper, but.
Hold on.
9 to noon. Okay. Great. Thank you.
Yeah, I have it for 9 to noon.
Oh, good. It's not like a 3 o'clock one. Good.
Yeah,
That is good.
but we will definitely
Yeah.
need better chairs.
If you guys text me, I will pick up Starbucks on my way in.
Wow.
Oh, and then
And you have to be
Okay.
very specific because what I've learned
it's a
is
Bodie. Is it a food or a drink?
I'll bring the
somebody
food.
told me
Yeah,
they
that's
wanted, I don't know, whatever, and apparently the baseline is that it's sweetened and I didn't know. And anyway, so you have to be
People are very specific. on that.
right. There, I get a chai latte and I don't know anything about the coffee drinks. So, but if
It's
you,
very confusing. I've
if
never
you
even
text
heard of
me-
this stuff.
Black coffee.
I will, but see, even that, then I have to choose which brew you get.
And the size. maybe.
Well, are you getting they have
Pour
different
over,
like
yeah.
beans that, so black coffee, there are
Dark
like
as a crow's
3 or
eye.
4 choices.
Have we adjourned? Are we?
Let's, anything else?
We adjourn.
We're adjourned. Thanks for joining us, Jamie and Heidi and somebody else.
Just
That was me.
He's lurking.
You're welcome. Good night.
Bye.
Yeah.
I was
Bye.
talking.
You too.
Hello.